a lot of young whites at that time were in gangs. Damn, I've never even got to say whites before.
I'm about to say, they saying
you're free to say anything.
Whites, yes, sir.
No, but they be saying blacks. I hate the term black.
I hate that.
That's
what I'm
that shit sting.
I feel comfortable with saying
blacks. That shit sting.
Black sound like straight out of like 1927.
Like nobody says.
Like I remember going back into another song, Burn Your Block, was the one that caught me off guard because I was like, shit, I ain't even know he had it in the bag. But I remember it caught me, and then you looked up some shit about it, and I was like, oh, we'll talk about the historical messaging.
The first words of that verse said Red Summer. So I'm like, okay.
Thank you.
I gotta
shout out to him.
Looking at that shit.
I didn't catch that. He told me about it this morning.
I gotta deep this shit, nigga. That whole song has a different meaning to me now, bro.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
For Red Summer, right? I guess it was right after World War One. Yeah, 1919. After World War One, is a whole bunch of black people that fought in the war. They had to come back, get jobs or whatever. Some of the white people that were coming out of the war as well, they were kind of mad because they weren't gonna get the jobs either.
Yeah.
So they was like, "Fuck, these niggas taking all the jobs."
Sounds like
the same.
Sounds like same shit we saying now.
With some distance on it. So,
hey, you so locked in. Hey, shout out to the Jaam podcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe right now. Take a second. Just take a second. Like, leave 2 more comments.
Yeah.
You feel me?
You heard
share.
him. You gotta leave.
Subscribe.
You gotta leave 3 more for chance. Man.
I was gonna say yes, sir.
Dialed in.
Let's go.
Because
they came back, right? The niggas taking the jobs by their means, whatever. So they taking the jobs or whatever. All the niggas, all the white people getting mad about it. And it got to a point where there was like 25 like race riots. There was lynching niggas, beating niggas, killing niggas. And there was one point, right? I believe, the statistics were saying that like 145% of black people went to Chicago. And then there was some people going to Philadelphia as well. And there was one point where some dude named Eugene, he was in the, I guess he was swimming in the
beach.
Oh yeah,
on the beach.
shit.
He was swimming in the beach on his like makeshift raft or whatever. He drifted off into the white area, and they started pelting the nigga with stones and killed him.
Yep.
Killed the nigga.
Killed him.
Yes.
Killed him.
So what happened was, all the black people pulled up to there. It was like 1,000 people there just waiting. He's like, yo, you got to arrest this nigga. Guess what CPD did? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. So that just kicked off everything. And then
it gets deeper. They actually sent gangs because at this time, so you got to read this book called Fire on the Prairie.
Okay.
And it's
I think I heard of that shit.
Well, I think I know it from my shout out my what was it? Shout out my junior year. She was my African American
social worker.
My junior year African American history teacher though. She taught us about this shit, and they had like it. Well, you can explain it, but
the book is mostly about like I guess like the through line is it's telling the story of how Harold Washington became mayor and what had to happen for him to become the mayor, and then what were the effects, like how effective he was as a mayor, which was extremely effective, but then also like the aftermath and stuff. But even before it gets to Harold Washington, it tells us the history of the mayors in Chicago. So when I was a kid, there was a mayor called Richard M. Daley.
Yeah, Richard M. Daley.
But before him, his father, Richard H. Daley, was one of the like, I want to say one of the first mayors of Chicago. That doesn't sound right, but Chicago's everything's
He was
young.
one of the biggest ones. Yeah, it's like a whole political dynasty.
Yeah.
So his upbringing, he was in a gang. Like a lot of young whites at that time were in gangs. Damn, I've never even got to say whites before.
I'm about to say they saying
you're free to say anything.
Whites, yes, sir.
No, but they be saying blacks. I hate the term black.
That's what I'm
shit
saying.
sting.
I feel comfortable with saying
Blacks, that shit sting.
Black sound like straight out of like 1927. Like
nobody says that.
No one says that unless you know.
But the whites that say blacks, they be saying whites too. So I'm just say whites. But the young ones, it's not a slur. The young whites in the 20s, they were in a lot of different gangs, and they were organized by neighborhood, but mainly by what do you call it? Not nationality, but like there were Irish gangs, Italian gangs, Jewish gangs, and so at that time, a bunch of the gangs after the stoning happened, they organized, mainly Richard H. Daley organized for them to go into the black neighborhoods and pull people out of their homes. And
they were shooting businesses,
like, setting shit on fire. Like but the thing is, we always talk about the Tulsa massacre.
Yeah,
but there were tons and tons of what they call race riots, but what they really were was like massacres. It's called massacres, and there's a term that I learned. Oh, mob violence.
Yeah.
So there are a ton of mob violence, racially, basically they was killing niggas and like hordes and attacking a bunch of people during this summer called Red Summer. But it was also a lot of like pushback from blacks.
From the blacks. So we're here, nigga.
Yep.
Oh, bro.
And then so
I
now,
didn't know the song was about that.
I'm about to say,
so now when you hear "Burn Your Block," it's something different.
Has a completely different connotation.
So I'm gonna tell y'all something that I haven't gotten to really break down yet, and that's why I wanted to come up here. So the backdrop of this whole album is against this movie called Wattstax. So Stax Records is this record company back in the 60s and 70s, super popular record company that had a black president. And after the Watts riots, when
Rodney King,
this is before Rodney King. So Rodney King is in the 90s. This is in the, I think, late 60s.
Oh yeah,
there was Watts riots because this man and I think his wife, who was pregnant, were like severely beaten by the police in like a mistaken identity thing or something. And so Watts burned for like 2 weeks, and the surrounding areas too, like close to Los Angeles. But that happens all the time, right? Black folks, they get pushed and beaten and oppressed in the silence, and then the reaction is this burning, and that always results in some sort of like, even if it's not effective, sweeping policy and legislation changes that don't really happen without it. If you think about the King riots, they always make it seem like we got the Civil Rights Act because King died, but no, we got it because for 6 weeks after that, all the metropolitan cities were on fire. So there's always this legislative change, but also we end up being the people that have to live in the fallout. Like we have to live, or like the West Side is still fucked up from the King riots. So like,
we're just living with the trauma in general.
It's the way that you deal with it. Like you could have the sweeping legislation that actually like addresses the reason why the riots happened in the first place, or you could, like what they did with the Black Panthers, you could get strict gun control now because they got guns, or you could still not invest in the community, but let's make sure we got like National Guard, and then when they leave, then we just go back to like nothing happened.
That's the biggest thing. So like having the resources to even deal.
Yeah, so you constantly like push the similar problem, and then it comes out in that.
Yeah, there's no like real answer that I have, or like proven way to get the policy change that we need, because we've done it non-violently and we get beat up, and we've done it violently and we get killed. But the fact of the matter is that's what happens when a black person gets killed on camera, or you know what I'm saying, there's some sort of long-standing inequity and it raises to violence. Eventually black folks go and burn their block. And that's like what happened in the Watts riots in the 60s. And years later, Stax Records, through a concert that was documented and also hosted in like kind of a unorthodox way by Richard Pryor, but all the biggest acts of the 70s, whether they were gospel or secular, came into this space, this huge coliseum in LA, and did a concert to lift the spirits and to get people to pour back into the communities. And to me, it's one of the greatest documentaries ever. But you get a lot of great, like these little moments in between where Richard Pryor does like little comedic bits in this bar where he's just pontificating on black life, and not through the lens of being black, but just his actual experience. But they all are like a little bit political. And so I pulled from that, all those samples that you hear on Burn Your Block. There's the sample at the beginning where it's like, I thought you niggas was happy. Like it's like that whole thing. That's a
I love
soldier.
that like narration device throughout the album.
So they interviewed all these different army vets and like people living in the neighborhood throughout the documentary. And so that's at the beginning of Burn Your Block. At the beginning of Negro Problem and the end, there's another sample from Richard Pryor where he talks about how they were, self-determination and how he identifies, and how he's like, you ever go up to a kid and say, "What's up, black boy?" And he say, "Hey, who you calling black?" That's like that. and then at the end he does the bit about how these black dudes would come into the neighborhood when he was growing up, and they were, you know, had this strong, like what is it called, like Afrocentric way of talking and dressing and like pride of self and stuff.
Yeah, you niggas crazy. I remember.
So he's like that nigga's crazy for thinking that. For thinking that we're beautiful.
That we came from like different. That we came from something that's more positive as opposed. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Really understanding the meaning, because I remember when I heard it and I'm hearing "burn your block." I remember I'm fried. Just now I'm like really like deep in it.
You gotta be, because these topics, like I've been saying a lot lately. Like these are like 12th and 13th listen conversations.
I'm probably at like 40 right now.
It stems from the reaction shit. Like people don't give it enough time.
Yeah.
Like,
they really don't.
Let it marinate.
Digest everything.
I've seen a whole bunch of different like white analysts of hip hop.
Heavy C.
They would like rate the most. They would rate the most like intro perspective songs of your album like lower. I'm like, bro, you don't even understand this shit. You don't get it.
Bitch. Like I'm sorry.
The thing that frustrates me about it is not necessarily, because I don't think that it's something that should be applied to like a specific artist. Like it's not because Chance is like an artist that I think it's the messaging and shit that you're not actually listening to.
You're not hearing it.
It takes away from the experience as well.
Thank you for watching this long. If you haven't already, subscribe. What is you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You think we just sitting here doing it for nothing?
You think you're gonna sit here and not
need
do
to
shit? Like,
I know you're not subscribed. Click it.
cool.